What's up everybody, Pete here from the Sunday Drive, and today we're working on my 2006 Honda Accord and we're going to be showing you how to bleed the brakes. We just finished installing new calipers, rotors, and brake pads, so the next step is to refresh the brake fluid in the system and get the air out of these brand new calipers. So let's get started. The main things you'll need for this job are a 10mm wrench, a brake fluid catch can, and obviously some fresh brake fluid. So we're using Liqui-Moly DOT4 brake fluid on this system. Make sure to check your owner's manual if you're not using a Honda Accord or doing the brakes on a Honda Accord to make sure that you are using the appropriate fluid. Next up, come under the hood and find your brake fluid reservoir. Usually it's against the firewall on the driver's side because this is about where your brake pedal is if you were to follow it through the firewall to where your foot goes. So take the cap off and remove that. And you always want to make sure that you never run this reservoir dry, because if you do, you'll get air in the system and you have to start from scratch. And sometimes it's a real pain in the butt to get the air out of the system after that, especially if you have ABS brakes, because then you could get the air stuck in that ABS module and you'll really have a hard time unless you have the proper tools to release the air from that system. So go ahead and top this off before we get started with bleeding the actual brake system. There's a small filter on top of here to catch any debris and dirt. That kind of slows down the rate that the fluid flows into this, so just take your time. Sometimes it's hard to see the fluid in the reservoir, so you can take a light and shine it from the other side, or you can shake it. I can see that the fluid's right about there, so we're pretty much topped off. So when bleeding the brakes, you always want to start the spot furthest from the brake reservoir. Now we already started on the rear passenger side, so this is the second stop along the way. We're going to go rear passenger, then rear driver, then we're going to go to front passenger, and then front driver. And then we'll do another round, because sometimes after replacing the calipers, you won't get the full pedal actuation until you do the front brakes, then you can come back to the rear brakes. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, where we have someone sitting in the car and they're going to push down on the brake pedal, and then I'm going to release the brake bleeder screw, and that will allow the pedal to move to the floor more and push the fluid out. And I'm going to keep doing that until there are no air bubbles coming through this system. So go ahead and push on the brake, and I'm going to crack this open. I'm doing it very slowly so you can see that there's some fluid starting to come here. And as I open this more, the pedal will go to the floor more. All right, so the pedal's on the ground. I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to tell the person in the driver's seat to release the brake. Pump it once or twice. Okay, now go ahead and push. And I'll open the brake bleeder. There we saw some air bubbles coming through. You can actually kind of feel it. Go ahead and push. Release. Push. Release. All right, now we're on the front driver's side. I just did the front passenger side, so this is the fourth stop along the way. And sometimes what you can do is you can crack all these bleeders before you actually do the formal bleeding process, and that'll allow gravity to flow the fluid through the lines and the caliper, and that'll take up a lot of the air, and then it'll speed up the process quite a bit. Just make sure you keep an eye on how much comes out and make sure that reservoir doesn't empty out. So before doing this fourth one, Cliff just added more fluid to the reservoir for me, so go ahead and push down on the brake pedal. Release, push. Release. All right, so that looks pretty good. I don't see any air bubbles. So now we'll just top off the reservoir one more time and do another rotation. Usually after bleeding your brakes, there'll be some residual brake fluid. You don't want that to sit around on the caliper, so I'm going to spray it with some brake clean. This is closed, by the way, so the brake fluid won't go into the brake system. And don't forget to put your rubber cap back on so that water doesn't sit in there and cause rust. But I'm going to take this back off so that the brake clean can dry off, and then I'll put these on. All right, so there you go. That is how you replace the brake fluid on your 2006 Honda Accord, whether you have new brake pads, an entire new brake system. If you're interested in knowing how to change your brakes on your Accord, be sure to check that video out. We'll have it at the end of this video and in the description below. We'll also have a video on how to reset your emergency brake if you need to adjust that. So if you found this video to be helpful, please give us a big like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.